Good evening, everyone. Dr. Rajesh, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Dr. Ananda is there. Very good evening to everyone. On behalf of Director Sir, Dr. CDS Katoch, all the faculty members, everyone, all the students, all the staff members, and everyone, and my very dear good friend and a very, very renowned and as well as a person who is contributing to the community, not only as a doctor, not only as a person who is treating thousands and thousands of patients, a person who is very dear and very close to my heart, and such a renowned person. We all are really privileged. On behalf of Director Saab, I really welcome my good friend Dr. Ananda Bhavanani Balyogi ji, with whom I had the good fortune of working and doing lots of research projects, and as well as working together and growing together. I have learned a lot from him, and it is really a huge honor for all of us at AIIMS Rajkot that you accepted to address the gathering that includes the faculty, staff, and as well as our dear students. I don't know how much the students will appreciate it today, that a doctor can also be a yogi, and to an extent where he is known all over the world also, not only for the words, but also in the true sense of a yogi, where he is doing selfless service and treating so many patients, not only as a modern medicine practitioner, but also as a practitioner who is trying to connect the ancient wisdom with the modern world. So I'm really privileged to honor and having the honor of having you, Dr. Ananda. And I would like also to extend my warm welcome from Director Sahab, Dr. CDS Katoch sir, who has graciously allowed us to organize this event for all the people who are working in AIIMS. And I would now like to hand it over to my dear friend and my colleague, Dr. Rajesh Katrotia, additional professor in Department of Physiology, who is a wonderful person and is a true person to introduce such a renowned personality to all of us. Over to Dr. Rajesh Katrotia.
Thank you, sir. I would extend my very warm welcome to Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balyogi ji. I would like to introduce him. A short CV I would like to say. Yogacharya Dr. Anand Balyogi is the director of the Center for Yoga Therapy Education and Research. And he is also a professor of yoga therapy at Sri Balaji Vidyapith University, Pondicherry. He is a gold medalist in MBBS, and he has done in postgraduate diploma in family health and also in yoga. And he also done the advanced diploma in yoga under the illustrious parents in 91 to 93. A fellow in the Indian Academy of Yoga, he has authored many DVDs, 26 books, 32 compilations on yoga, as well as published more than 300 papers, compilations and abstracts on yoga and yoga research in national and international journals. He has served as a member of numerous expert committees in the Ministry of Ayush, including its steering committee for Yoga Certification Board, the National Board for Promotion of Yoga and Naturopathy, Scientific Advisory Committee and Standing Finance Committee of CCRIN, Expert Committee for Celebration of International Yoga Day and Yoga and Diabetes Program. He is a consultant resource person for the WHO Collaborative Center in the Traditional Medicine at the MDNIY New Delhi. He is also the Executive Committee member and Joint Secretary of the Indian Yoga Association and Senior Vice President of National Yogasan Sports Association. He is a recipient of the coveted DSc degree in Yoga from the S. Vyasa Yoga University. He is a chairman of International Center for Yoga Education and Research at Ananda Ashram, Pondicherry, and Yoganjali Nityalam, the Premier Institute of Yoga and Carnatic Music and Bharatanatyam in Pondicherry. So he has very renowned contributions. He is recognized PhD guide for yoga therapy. Also, he is the first Indian to be recognized as an Indian AIIMS certified yoga therapist, CIAYT, by the International Association of Yoga Therapists, USA. In recent years, he has been traveling to different countries, and I think he has given and delivered various lectures, conducted workshops. He has done various public events and retreats at various places in UK, USA, Europe, even Asia, South Africa, Germany, Canada, and New Zealand. So he is a honorary advisor to the International Association of Yoga Therapists also, and the Australian Association of Yoga Therapists, and Gitanan Yoga Association worldwide. I welcome you, sir. I request you to enlighten us with your kind words and wise words. Welcome, sir.
Namaste, Swagatam, Vanakkam. A great pleasure to be with all of you today. And though I'm not there in person, we are all together in that virtual womb. The Zoom womb where all the thoughts can come together and we can all come together in the same place for the same purpose at the same time. So same place, same purpose, same time. That is what yoga is all about. So I thank Dr. Rajesh for the kind introduction. And I thank my dear Vivek Sharma ji for the invitation to be with all of you. I fondly remember our times in Pondicherry and how we have worked together on so many projects, and so many high impact publications have come out of the work we did at that time. And today, the fact that this can continue and spread across the country, across the globe, thanks to the efforts of our dynamic Prime Minister Modi ji, who has made yoga the buzzword all over the world. So before I begin the session on Ashtanga Yoga, its applications and concepts and a few practices for you today, I would like to invoke the Guru Parampara. In the yoga tradition, which is one of the most ancient traditions in our country, the role of the Guru and the Shishya Parampara is very important. So we acknowledge the previous teachers who have come before us, the masters who have come before us, so that we can be a conduit for the flow of those teachings, because we understand that it is all an unbroken flow, just like the Ma Ganga is flowing in an unbroken manner, all the way from the high glaciers of the Gomukh, coming down through Gangotri and then coming all the way down, right up to Kashi and other places. We understand that the flow has to be there. So invoking the Guru Parampara at the beginning. Tat Paramparaaya Vidmahi Jnanalingeshwaraya Dhimahi Tanno Guruh Prachodayate Om. Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopakarotam Prabaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Maharishi Patanjali, about 2,500 years ago, has given us the most amazing perspective of the universe. It is called the Yoga Darshana. Yoga Darshana, one of the Shad Darshanas of our Indian culture. Now, the Indian culture, the Indian civilization is something very special. Not just because we are all Indians, not just because we are living in India and we have Aadhaar card. No. The Indian civilization, the Indian culture is very, very significant because it is an ancient culture that is still living today. There are so many cultures. There have been the cultures of the Mayans. There have been the cultures of the Romans, the Greeks, the Egyptians. And all those cultures have died out. All those cultures are only found in museums today. You have to go to museum. Museum ko जाने से उसको बारे में पता हो जाता हमको. We can only come to know about it by looking in a museum. There will be one exhibit there saying this is the culture. But in our beloved country, in Bharat Desh, what is the greatness? We are living in a living museum. The culture is still alive. It is a timeless culture, Sanatana Dharma, that is still alive right till this very moment that I am talking to you. That culture, a living culture, a thriving culture, it is a culture that has tried to understand the most important question as a human being. And what is that question? Koham, who am I? The question of who am I is the most important question as a human being. As a human being, we don't just have the physical body. This physical body is called Anandamaya Kosha. In yogic parlance and in the Shad Darshana called Vedanta, which is a sister darshana of yoga, the concept of Pancha Kosha, 5 bodies of 5 sheaths, is found. These 5 sheaths are not just some hypothetical philosophical concept. They are actual perspective that we can understand the human being better. Because the human being doesn't just have this one body, which we call Annamaya Kosha, the physical body. The Annamaya Kosha is made up of food, so it is called Annamaya. We are eating food and sustaining, nourishing ourselves. If we don't eat, we start to break down. Hence, we have to eat. But at the same time, what do we become? We become food for something else. Now, many years ago, when we talked about this, we said, oh, when we die, we become food for some animal. Or if you are walking down the forest and a tiger eats you, you become food. So it is Annam, Annamaya Kosha, food body. But nowadays, we have the beautiful concept, the human biome. The human biome. And we start to realize that we may have 8 to 10 times more microbial cells and the microbial elements than the human elements. The question is, who is bigger, the microbes or the human being? During the time of the COVID pandemic, we have all realized that invisible enemy that is not even a living being, a virus, how it has messed with our lives in the last 2 years. Each and every one of us, not just in India, each and every living being on this planet has been impacted adversely during this COVID pandemic. So we realize we are food for those microbes, Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, the anatomical structural existence. I can see all of you sitting in that classroom there at AIIMS Rajkot. So I know that you are there. You can see me. So we know that we are there. Now, many of the other people have the videos off. So I have no idea, are they there or not, or are they hiding? This is what we find in online teaching and online lecturing. But because I can see you there, I know you are there. You can see me, so you know that I am there. What we can see and perceive through the sensory apparatus is called the Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, the structural existence. I call it the anatomical existence. So we also have it. A dead body, a cadaver in your anatomy lab also has it. Then what is the difference between that dead body and us? What is the difference between that Shava and us? Well, it is the Shakti. It is said that the difference between Shiva and Shava is Shakti. Lord Shiva without a Shakti becomes Shava. That is a common statement we make. So we realize we need energy. What is that energy? It is called Prana Shakti. That Prana Shakti, which is the life force that makes sure that we become a living being. We are not just a body, but we are a living, thriving body. What is that living body? It is endowed with the prana. So it is called Pranamaya Kosha. So you have a heart. Structurally, it is the Annamaya Kosha. That heart is now starting to pump. And it is pumping. It is going through that 0.8 second cardiac cycle. And it is pumping systole, diastole, systole, diastole, systole, diastole, and making those beautiful sounds, the music of the heart. Lub, dub, lub, dub, lub, dub, lub, dub. And you have that beautiful functioning happening. So now we are a Pranamaya Kosha, a physiological existence. So we have an anatomical existence. We then have a physiological existence, a functional existence, so that you can get up and your legs will move, your hands will move, your head will turn, your eyes will open and close, and you say, ah, Jinda hai. He is alive. Tiger Zinda hai. You know, we say that the person is alive. क्योंकि उनके पास तो अभी प्राण शक्ति है. बिना प्राण तो मर गया. He is dead without pran. So anatomical existence, physiological existence. But now anatomical and functional existence, even my computer has it, even the fan has it, even my coffee maker has it. Then what is the difference between that equipment that has a structure and a function and us as a human being? That manushya, how do we become a manushya? Because we have manas. That manas, which is mind, enables us to become a thinking human being. And this is our psychological existence, where we can start to understand, yes, other people are there. I am interacting. This is the left side of the road. I should drive. That is the right side. And then we'll drive on the wrong side. But we know it. We are starting to see somebody and we are reacting. You have the knee-jerk reflex happening. You have all your reflexes happening. Do we have responses? We have become a reactive species. Only reaction is happening. Where is the response? So you have anatomical existence, physiological existence, now psychological existence. But then you need something more than that. That is called buddhi. Buddhiman manushya, says Bhagavad Gita. That buddhiman manushya, how do you become? That is the Anandamaya Kosha, our intellectual, our discerning power, where the Viveka Buddhi is there. So I know what is right, what is wrong, and I will choose to do that which is right. That is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. I know that I should study for my exam and I will study. So I have Ichcha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, all of that is the Buddhi. And that Buddhi is coming in the Vijnanamaya Kosha, my intellectual discerning existence, where we become truly a humane being. As long as we are having a body that is functional, we are still subhuman. When we have a mind that is functional, we become human. When we have a discerning intellect that can make the choice, we are becoming humane. And that is why the superpower of being human, we all have superpower, not just Shaktiman, not just Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. All of us have a superpower. The superpower of being human is the power of choice. We have the choice. We can make a choice. That is where we are using the prefrontal cortex. So I go around saying, prefrontal cortex, prefrontal cortex, prefrontal cortex. This is the part that makes us a human being. We can choose what is the right thing to do, how to give respect to others, how to love others, how to care for others. We are all in the medical profession. It is a healthcare profession. We are to give care to people who are seeking care and coming to us. To give care, we have to have empathy. We have to have the capacity to feel as if we are feeling the other person's struggles and their problems. And then we have to have the intelligence to know what to do, make a choice to help them in the proper way. This is why to be a doctor is one of the greatest opportunities to serve humankind, to serve fellow human beings, and that power comes from the Viveka Buddhi, that beautiful Vijnanamaya Kosha. But then we are not just an individual. We are part of the universe. Our culture has said, Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. We understand that we all impact each other. You impact me, I impact you. We all impact each other. And we realize we are part of the cosmos. It is our universal existence, which is called Anandamaya Kosha. So the Pancha Koshas, which are the 5 sheaths, your anatomical structural existence that can be understood through the sensory experience. The energy existence can be understood by the functionality of the individual. The psychological existence where the basic level of the mind is coming in. The intellectual existence where the power of choosing the right thing. You know what is right and you choose to do the right thing. The power of the higher intellect. And then the connection to the whole world. And we start to feel as if we are one with everyone. There is no duality. Dvitiyam kutasya, there is no duality. we go into that non-duality that Sri Adi Shankara talks about. This is the structure of the human being according to the Darshana system of Indian culture. And this is why Maharishi Patanjali 2500 years ago has given us the Yoga Sutra. And the Yoga Sutras, which are 196 verses, short verses, he has given us the whole aspect of what life is about, what the universe is about, and how we can all have that experience of being one with the universe. That is given through the principles of Ashtanga Yoga. And Maharishi Patanjali, in his teaching, he starts to give us the concept of what today is understood as Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 limbs of the yoga. Somebody is sharing a screen. Can you please stop that? Thank you. The concept of Ashtanga Yoga implies there are 8 limbs. Now, many people translate it as the 8 steps of yoga or the 8 rungs of the ladder of yoga. But if you look at the Sanskrita term Anga, 8 means a limb. Now, just as my hands are a limb, my feet are a limb, it doesn't mean my hands are better than my feet or my feet are better than the hands. Every component is important. Every part of us is important. Every system, it doesn't matter whether it is the nervous system, the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, the GIT, the excretory system, the integumentary system. It doesn't matter what system you're talking about. They all have to work together. So these are the Ang. So the limbs of yoga have been given as 8. And the first 2 limbs are called Yama, Niyam. So Yam, Niyam or Yama, Niyama, they form the basis of the morality and ethics of being a human being. And when you look at the Yama are based on the principles of what not to do. So when we have the primitive animal tendencies, we all want to do what we are not to do. This is a common tendency. Any system left to itself will devolve to its lowest common denominator. And that is why the first and foremost of these Panchayama are called Ahimsa. Ahimsa meaning non-violence. Now you say, yes, Dr. Ananda, I am not killing anybody, so I'm non-violent. I am not going and torturing any monkey, so I'm non-violent. No. In your mind, how much violence is there? How many times you have violent thoughts about other people? How many times in your words to other people you are having violence? You have to contemplate that. Because it doesn't matter whether it is in your mind, whether it is in your thoughts, whether it's in your words or in your action. To be in a state that is beyond violence is ahimsa. And that is why we say ahimsa paramo dharma. The highest dharma is ahimsa, non-violence. Do no harm. Now that is also the first rule of medicine. Do no harm. In the Hippocratic Oath, the first part is do no harm. As a doctor, if somebody comes to me, either I should help them or I should refer them to somebody who is better than me. I should not, because of my ignorance or my arrogant ego, I should never do harm to that person. That is first and foremost in the basis of medicine. It is the first and foremost in the basis of yoga. That is why for me, yoga and modern medicine, they come together in a seamless manner. Again and again, we are finding this. Similarly, after ahimsa, satya. Now people say, yes, I didn't tell any lie. But many times we tell somebody, I will come and meet you at 6 o'clock and you don't show up. You say, I'll meet you on Friday, you don't come. That is then a lie also. We have to contemplate at all levels. Are we living that truthfulness, non-violentness? Ahimsa, satya, then asteya, stealing. Yes, I don't rob a bank, so I am very, very good in asteya. No, but we steal other people's ideas. We steal other people's slides. We steal other people's students. We steal other people's joy. We steal other people's experiences. It is all steya. It is all stealing. And that is why we need to go away from that. It is called asteya. So ahimsa satya asteya brahmacharya. People say brahmacharya means not getting married. That is not brahmacharya. Brahmacharya ka matlab hai that we are able to channelize our creative energies in the right direction. Channelizing the correct energies, our creative energies in the correct manner is brahmacharya, living in tune with the principle of Brahma, which is the universal principle of creativity itself. And aparigraha, having the capacity not to have greed. Sabloka pasto, we have a lot of parigraha, grab. Even as a small baby, what are we checking in the neonatal reflexes? Those of you who know about pediatrics, you would have seen that we check what is called the grasping reflex. The pediatrician puts the finger in the palm of the little newborn baby and checks whether it grasps. And then we say, if you can grasp, you will survive on this planet. Wherever you are, you will grasp and grab and you will... He knows how to survive. It's a survival impulse. That is why rather than grabbing me, I want more, can we give? Can we share? Can we be someone who shares with others? That is the power of choice, the power of being human rather than being subhuman. And all of these five, ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, yamaha, says Maharishi Patanjali. So we are controlling the subhuman tendencies. These are all the tendencies that pull us down from being human. But that's not enough. Restraining the negativity is okay. It is one part. But you have to foster positivity. Restrain negativity, foster positivity. This is the formula he has adopted here. So then he gives what are called niyama. Saucha santosha tapas swadhyaya ishvara pranidhanani niyamaha. Saucha santosha. Saucha is not just having your bath with Livil soap or Nirma soap or Synthol soap or nowadays Patanjali soap. It is not about what soap you use or whether you put shampoo and go to the toilet and brush your teeth with the latest toothpaste which has salt and charcoal and all that. Already our tradition had it. Now they said all that is stupid and then now we have come back one full circle. That is not Sauch. Saucha means are you pure in your thinking? What you think can you say? What you say can you do? When all three come together, thought, word and action, you have purity. So it is not as purity. The purity of thought, the purity of word, the purity of emotions, the purity of action. That is where Saucha comes in. Then comes the second component, Santosha, contentment. Can we be content with what we get? Very, very difficult. We all know that. We always want something more. Dil mange more, they say. Actually, it should be dil mange less. Not dil mange more, dil mange less it should be. Because the more you want, the less happy you will be. The greater your expectation, the more stressed you are. And this is where the balance between expectation and capacity. Expectation and capacity, when you can find that balance, you reduce stress. High expectation with low capacity, gone. You will never be happy, you will never be satisfied, you will always have stress, and you will die of a heart attack at 42. Because that is what is being bred. What is important is minimize the expectation, maximize the capacity. Because when you minimize your expectation and maximize your capacity, you are finding balance. And the state of balance is the state of Santosha. We want homeostatic balance. We want autonomic balance. We want balance of the mind, body, emotions. We want a good bank balance. Everything we want in balance. The thing is that how can you reduce that over expectation? Usually we find those who have the lowest capacity have the highest expectation. The people who have the highest capacity have low expectation and are very, very sadhu. I have met some amazing people like that. One of the greatest physiologists of India, Dr. Ramesh Bijlani sir, who was at AIIMS New Delhi. He is an example of a living yogi. My own professor, Madan Mohan at Pondicherry, who continues to mentor me, a living yogi, testing Santosha, Saucha Santosha there. And then there are 3 of the Niyama. Tapa, Swadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhana. Tapa means discipline. Swadhyaya, introspectional self-analysis. And Ishvara Pranidhana is acceptance of the universal plan. So 3 principles: have discipline, have self-reflection. Today we make it very popular. Reflective self-learning, we call it in medical education. Reflective self-learning. That is Swadhyaya. Discipline, reflective and acceptance. When we can practice the niyamas, they are put together and called Kriya Yoga by Maharishi Patanjali. And this Kriya Yoga is the way to get rid of all the obstacles, all the impurities that cloud our mind stuff. So these first two, Yama Niyama of Ashtanga Yoga, what are they giving us? They are restraining the subhuman tendency. They are enhancing the human and humane quality, and hence they are giving us social health. So if you look at the Ashtanga Yoga model, the World Health Organization today has given the definition of health as a state of well-being. I say it's a dynamic state of well-being. Okay, state of well-being ka matlab hai, once you get it, you will keep it forever. Aisa to nahi hai. Health is like becoming number 1 in the ranking. You have to then sustain it. Sustaining number 1 ranking is more difficult than attaining that number 1 ranking. You go and ask all the top tennis players, the top badminton players, and everybody, they'll tell you that. So here what is important is that a dynamic sense of well-being. What type of well-being? Physical well-being, mental well-being, social well-being, and spiritual well-being. So 4 domains of health, even WHO has come to understand. You say, sir, spiritual domain officially nahi hai. Officially it may not be there, but on so many documents up 1770 and working on it. So 4 domains of health: physical, mental, social, and spiritual. That social domain of health is what the Yama Niyama give you. When you live the Yama Niyama, you start to manifest social health. You say then, sir, what about my physical health? For the physical health, to improve the psychophysiological functioning, to improve your psycho-neuroimmune function, to improve your psycho-neuroendocrine function, what has he given? Asana Pranayama. Asana, the 3rd limb of yoga, is the most popular one. And every place you will see yoga ka matlab to asana ho gaya. Asana is only the 1 limb, 3rd limb of yoga. And that asana, it is a methodology to work with the body in a mindful way. Working with the body in a mindful way to enhance all the physical and physiological functioning. Physiological functioning is enhanced by the practice of asana. For example, you can reset your baroreflex mechanisms. That will make sure that your blood pressure will not go into the hypertensive range. If you have hypertension and you want to reset that baroreflex mechanism, if you want to reset and deal with the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone mechanism, there are practices here. These are the practices that are working on restoring balance. What is yoga? Samatvam yoga uchyate. Yoga is equanimity. Yoga is equilibrium. Yoga is homeostatic balance. And that is what you bend forward, you bend right, you turn to the left, you lift your arm, you lift your leg, you turn yourself upside down. All these practices are going on. All of these asana practices, they are retraining all the mechanisms that we have in all the systems. And then pranayama. Pranayama is not just breathing exercise. It is to deal with the pran Shakti. Remember, I said the difference between a living person and a dead body is the prana. How do you enhance it? How do you experience it? How do you modulate it? How do you work with it? That is the art and science of pranayama. And what we do with pranayama, as you regulate your breathing, what is going to happen? Normal breathing, all of you know, it is governed by your brain stem, respiratory center, apneustic center, pneumotaxic center, all those centers in your brain stem, pons and medulla. All those centers, they are regulating your respiration. Active inspiration, passive expiration going on 15 to 20 times per minute. This is survival mode. Whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, it will be going on. But in yoga, through pranayama, what we are saying, we want to shift. We want to shift from survival mode to living mode. We want to shift from the unconscious, subconscious, automatic, autonomic pattern of breathing to a mindful, choice-based, conscious pattern of breathing. Pura shift karte. Hamara pura mechanism ko shift we are making. So instead of letting your brainstem drive your breathing, you are deciding from the cortex, prefrontal cortex, by the power of choice, the superpower of being human. You are making a choice. I'm going to breathe in for the count of 6. I'm going to breathe out for the count of 6. So when I do that, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I breathe like this, you know what is happening? I'm breathing at the rate of 6 breaths per minute. Instead of 15 to 20 times per minute, I'm breathing at the rate of 6 breaths per minute, which is harmonizing the cardiovascular rhythms called Mayer rhythms. 6 per minute is the Mayer rhythm, cardiovascular autonomic rhythm, which goes like this in your graph. It is the Mayer rhythm, which is the cardiovascular autonomic rhythm. And the moment I choose to breathe at a rate that is slower than normal, 1/3 of normal or 1/2 of normal, suddenly what is happening? I am enhancing my cardiorespiratory function. I'm enhancing my cardiac autonomic function. I am automatically bringing into play the concept of the sinus arrhythmia. We have done so many studies on this, how the pranayama is enhancing the sinus arrhythmia, which means you are mindfully starting to regulate your autonomic nervous system. When I studied MBBS in Nagpur University, it was told to me in 1993, you cannot regulate the autonomic nervous system, it is autonomic. Yoga says you can. How? By modulating how you breathe. Hence, pranayama is not just breathing exercise for lung function. It will improve your lung function, but it will improve your tissue oxygenation. During COVID, all of us have been running around with a pulse oximeter. What is my oxygen saturation? Is it 98, 96, 92? Below 90, oh my God, take them to ICU. This has been what has been going on. We have done studies. We are publishing a paper right now. How when you do pranayama, you are enhancing the oxygen saturation. Patients of COVID, after COVID, they have long COVID. When they have long COVID, you find that they're having a lot of issues with breathing. The cardiorespiratory function has gone down. Exercise tolerance has gone down. They cannot walk from one room to another without becoming tired. And the moment you add pranayama to it, you are enhancing the oxygen saturation. You are retraining your autonomic nervous system, and you are shifting from survival mode, which is the back of the brain, to the living mode, which is the front of the brain. The whole mechanism has shifted from the old brain to the new brain. So asana pranayama, physical health. Yama niyama, I told you, social health domain. Asana pranayama to physical health domain. Now what do we do about mental health domain? Pratyahara and dharana, the next two limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. So the fifth and sixth limb of Ashtanga Yoga, pratyahara, uska matlab hai you are bringing your senses back. All your sensory experience is governed by the flow of the mind. The mind empowers the senses and goes out with the senses to have the experience. So what we are saying is, take the mind back. The senses cannot influence you anymore. Normally what happens, the sensory stimulation comes, immediately what will be a motor response. It's called a reflex. Okay, spinal reflex is the reflex arc. Reflex arc ka matlab hai, there's a sensory stimulation, there's a motor response. Sida sada. And that is how most people are living today. What we want to do is create that interneuron. Between them, we want to create a change there. And that change occurs when you decide to use your mind to withdraw. So you are seeing something, but you are not reacting to what you see. You are now responding to what you see. You are hearing something, but you are not reacting to what you hear. You are responding to it. You are tasting something. You are not reacting. You are responding. And we are moving from reactionary to responsive behavior. This is how the change is occurring. So pranayama has given us the capacity to change from survival mode to living mode. Pratyahara is giving you the chance to move from reactive living to responsive living. You are becoming responsive rather than reactive and reflexive. There's a huge difference happening in how you behave as a human being, and this will impact your mental health. Then the mind which is scattered, sarvartha ekagratayo kshayodayo, says Patanjali. What does it mean? The mind which is every place. Hamara mind to always scattered hai. It is said the mind is like a monkey. Not just a monkey, but a monkey that has been stung by a scorpion. And not only is it stung by a scorpion, it is also drunk, and it is on a hot tin roof in the middle of summer. You can imagine that monkey is delirious state. It is having a delirious state. This is how most of our minds are. And that is why we are having the stress levels. The mind is agitated. The mind is going every place at the same time. It is scattered. So that scattered mind is being brought to one focus. It's called sarvartha ekagratayo. That is the change in the mental status from a scattered mind to a one-pointed mind. Now a one is like a laser beam. What can the normal light do? The normal light lets you see, but it has no power on its own. But when you focus that normal light, when you focus the light and it becomes a laser beam, suddenly what can you do? You can do an amazing operation to save a life. That focused light becomes a powerful tool. Similarly, the focused mind becomes a powerful tool that can empower us in our journey towards the higher states of human consciousness. So pratyahara dhan, they are for the mental health. But the highest level of health is not all of this. It is spiritual health, where you feel at ease with yourself. You feel at ease with the universe in which you live. And for that to happen, one has to have that highest level of understanding. And that is where dharana has gone now into dhyana. Dhyan and samadhi. And this is why dhyan doesn't mean just sitting quietly with your eyes closed. Sitting quietly with your eyes closed is sitting quietly with your eyes closed. Dhyan ka matlab hai, you have gone into a state where that component who is you is very minimal. You have moved. My beloved mother, Ammaji, Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani, she used to tell. She said, nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. She said, in that state of dhyan, you become perfect. Why do you become perfect? Because you become nobody. We always think, I am somebody. That is the ego. I am this person. I am that. This is my qualification. That is my position. This is my salary. This is my social security. No, no, no. All of that is ahankar. You want to move away from ahankar to nirankar, nir-ahankar state. And that state is a state of dhyan. Where you are in that state of meditative oneness, you are moved from trying to be somebody to becoming nobody. And in that, you have moved from being imperfect to a state of perfection. It is the height of human consciousness. And then as that is continuing, you come into samadhi, which means the highest state. Sama adi. Adi is the highest. You are now equal to that highest consciousness. So dhyan and samadhi, they are the amazing tools that are giving us the spiritual health. So Maharishi Patanjali, 2,500 years ago, has tackled the 4 domains of health that today WHO is talking about. Yam, Niyam, social health. Asan, Pranayam, they are for the physical health. Pratyahara and Dharana, mental health. Dhyan and Samadhi for spiritual health. What a beautiful mechanism has been given by the Maharishi. And this is why our ancients, they were far, far ahead of time. So far ahead of time that we still don't understand it. And this is why we need to understand. We have to understand our traditional teachings, but in a modern scientific way. We have to understand it in the modern scientific context. Because yoga, when it comes together with modern medicine, at our center in the university here, we have seen how when adjuvant yoga therapy comes into any stream, it will improve hypertension. Definitely adjuvant yoga therapy works. Diabetes works. Metabolic syndrome, it works. COPD, it works. Bronchial asthma, it works. Depression, it works. In depression, you know what is interesting? The normal medicine is being given. In another group, the normal medical care plus yoga. And what happens? Both group, the depression is getting controlled. Slightly more when you add yoga, but in both, depression is getting controlled, but the patients are still having anxiety. In the medical group, they're still having anxiety if you don't add one more drug. But when you give the yoga, the depression is also getting controlled and the comorbid anxiety is also getting controlled. This is why when we add yoga to the protocol, we are not saying that yoga will cure everything. Not at all. When you bring it together, when you bring the elements of the yoga philosophy and the practices into the system and you have a holistic protocol, it is called integrative medicine. So along with your diabetic medicines, please do the yoga practices. Adopt the attitudes, the cultural attitudes that are there, culturing your emotions, culturing your behavior, and automatically the lifestyle changes come. Because yoga is the best healthy lifestyle ever devised for human beings. And it has all the components of lifestyle that today we talk about. What is the biggest challenge for India today, other than COVID? It is the lifestyle, non-communicable diseases. And this is why for non-communicable diseases, if we want to help the individual, if we want to help them attain and maintain a semblance of health, we need to bring yoga into the equation. So this I wanted to share with you today about Ashtanga Yoga, Maharishi Patanjali, and the context from a yogic and a scientific framework. Now, many practices can be done. You can do a lot of practices, but one of the very beautiful practices you can do is a practice called Chandranadi Pranayama. And I wanted to share that with you today because everybody has stress. There's nobody without stress. Maybe the dead people don't have stress. Anybody who's living has stress, as simple as that. So our sympathetic nervous system is always on a high, constant sympathetic arousal and constant HPA axis arousal. So cortisol levels are going higher and higher. You know what happens when cortisol goes up? It messes with your whole metabolic profile. Your whole metabolic profile will go haywire the moment cortisol overload occurs. And on top of that, it reduces your immune function. You become immune compromised, which is one of the very important ways that yoga can help us even in this pandemic. So if we are stressed, how can we de-stress in a very simple way? You can use your right thumb to close your right nostril. Okay, so the right nostril you close with this thumb and you keep the left nostril open. So in yoga, right nostril is called Surya Nadi, left nostril Chandra Nadi. So Surya is activating, it is sympathomimetic. It mimes the sympathetic nervous system. So we want to control that. So we close the right nostril. Left nostril is Chandra Nadi, which is parasympathomimetic. So the moment you close the right and now through the left, you start to do slow deep breathing. And you want to breathe at approximately a rate 6 per minute. Here the magic formula is 6 per minute. Okay, so 5 seconds inhalation, 5 seconds exhalation means 10 seconds for one breath cycle. In 60 seconds, 10 in and out. 6 in and out has occurred. 10 seconds per 60 divided by 10 is 6. you come to that 6 breaths per minute. 6 breaths per minute is the magic formula. And you are doing this. So what we do, let's do a few rounds, okay? So breathing out, just sit straight. Wherever you are, sit straight in your chair or on your benches or at home or wherever you are. Try to keep your spine aligned. The spine alignment is important for the energies to flow. All the energy, see, all your sensory information comes through the spinal cord to the brain. All the motor outputs go from the brain to the rest of the body through spinal cord. So if your spine is not aligned, you will have confusion between sensory motor information. So spine aligned is very important. Closing the right nostril, let us do a few rounds, just 5-6 rounds we'll do. Breathing out. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Relax your hands, keep your eyes closed, and just let that pattern of breathing continue for a few seconds. When we breathe at this rate of 6 per minute, we are harmonizing the cardiac autonomic rhythms that run throughout our system, enhancing the power of the coupling of our cardiac and respiratory systems through the autonomic nervous system, bringing about a recruitment of the vagal tone, enhancing the sympathovagal balance. All of this is enabling us to be in a more calm, quiet, self-reflective, contemplative mode. And this is why one of the best practices to de-stress and to enhance our vagal activity, which is the restorative, recuperative, anabolic part of our energies, this left nostril breathing, exclusive left nostril breathing, called Chandranadi Pranayama. A very good pranayama. You can do it in the morning for 5 minutes. You can do it before lunch and before going to bed at night, like a TID, TDS dose, giving us a beautiful sense of restoring the cardiac autonomic balance. Wonderful. I hope this practice has given you a sense of calm, and I would suggest that you take this practice wherever you are, before you go to work or study in the morning. If there is a difficult patient, go into your room, do it for 5 minutes, you will deal with the patient better. If you have a difficult meeting in your committees, we all have committees, we all have difficulty in committees, and it is important that either before or after it, you do this. What will happen is that all that emotionality will come down. The moment the emotionality comes down, we can have a clear head and our thinking will be clear. So I hope that today's session has benefited all of you, and I hope it has given you another perspective of the Ashtanga Yoga of Maharishi Patanjali, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhaya, Ashtau Angani, says Maharishi Patanjali. And I hope that whenever you are a bit stressed, we all have a lot of stress these days. Whenever you are stressed, that you will practice this left nostril breathing, left uninostril breathing called Chandranadi Pranayama, We have published a lot on how it is useful in hypertension, how it is useful in diabetes, how it is useful in counteracting the stress after losing sleep in your emergency department, in casualty. The next day you feel a lot of stress. This can reduce it, and overall all the stress that we feel in life. So wishing you all the best. I pass over to our organizers. Thank you very much for having me with you and giving me a chance to meet all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks for the enlightening talk. It has given a wide range of avenues, and it has opened so many areas that are there to explore. Thank you for it. Would be a very good experience for all the students also. It has. Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Vivek sir, would you like to say anything?
It is always an enlightening session whenever I meet Dr. Ananda. I can never forget the day that we both joined together Jipmer on the same day. And it has been a long journey. And the journey has been there. We are learning as a student of yoga. And simultaneously, we are also discharging our duties. I am really pretty sure that our students would have gained lots of things. He is a wonderful orator also. How beautifully and how easily he has explained all the concepts of yoga, all the panch koshas, how it is relevant for a medical practitioner to understand them first and then apply them in the practice so that they can take care of their own stress, their own life, and as well as they can help the society by bringing non-pharmaceutical therapeutic approach to the general public, about which not many people are aware of, although it is a part and parcel of our culture. So thank you, Dr. Ananda, for being with us. And thanks to Dr. Rajesh, Director Sir, and all the faculty members who are over here, Dr. Sanjay Singhal, and all the senior faculty members who are also over here for this.
Pleasure to be with you. Dhanyavad. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dr. Rajesh, over to you.